Hello everyone, happy June. We finally, after a very long time of waiting, have another Halloween Horror Nights announcement. We've been waiting for months and months since that first announcement on Halloween 2022, but today we finally received our second announcement for Halloween Horror Nights 32, and it is The Last of Us. Us in the Halloween Horror Nights community have been desperately waiting for another official announcement. We've been talking rumors, we've been chatting amongst ourselves, we've been amusing ourselves with memes on Twitter, but today we finally got what we've been waiting for, and that is a Halloween Horror Nights official announcement of The Last of Us, the video game version, not the series version, which confirms the rumors that were out there that we are getting The Last of Us. So let's go through the video that they shared. Let's go through the press release that was sent out that has details about what's coming. And I'll share some opinions on how I feel about this announcement and leave it up to you guys to tell me what you think. Before we dive into it fully, I do just want to introduce myself. If this is the first video you're seeing of mine, hi, I am Liz. I've been attending Halloween Horror Nights since 2001, and I have fallen in love with the event and try to go as many times as I can every single year. So on this channel, I talk all the rumors, announcements for not just Halloween Horror Nights, but also the other big haunts in Florida, including Howl-O-Scream, Sir Henry's. Those are my personal favorites, and hopefully more this year. So if you love Halloween, if you love haunted attractions, make sure to subscribe and follow along for all the news, rumors, and vlogs once the event starts. So for today, let's start with the press release, because that gives us the most information about what to actually expect in this house. And we know from the press release that this house is going to be at both Halloween Horror Nights Orlando and Halloween Horror Nights Hollywood. So this is a crossover event. And we know that it's based on the video game, which just celebrated its 10th anniversary earlier this week. So there were some rumblings that we might get an announcement this week that this might be coming because it fit perfectly with the anniversary. So the press release reads, and I quote, "Set in a ravaged civilization where infected and hardened survivors run rampant, Naughty Dog and PlayStation's The Last of Us video game, which celebrates its 10th anniversary this year, just earlier this week, has captivated audiences since its release. And now guests can immerse themselves in a real-life experience that puts them directly in the game's frightening world. The Last of Us haunted houses on both coasts will propel guests into a world of carnage and mayhem as they follow in the footsteps of the game's protagonists, Joel and Ellie, who endure a brutal journey in a world overtaken by a fungal virus that turns humans into various forms of a new threat known as the infected. As guests encounter the infected, runners, stalkers, and clickers, along with the hunters, a band of hostile humans, they will need to navigate the Pittsburgh quarantine zone, including iconic locations from the video game, such as the creepy and desolate The Hotel Grand, and a labyrinth of dark and dank tunnels in a desperate attempt to escape and survive. As I told you guys before, I have not watched the series yet. I was waiting for my Halloween Horror Nights homework, and then I found out it was the video game and not the series. So I've put the series on hold. I do know a little bit about it just from pop culture, everything that's been happening this past year about the game and the series. It's been on top of mind. So I do plan on watching the series, and I may actually go through and play the game. I do play video games. I just have never played this particular one. I have watched streamers play through parts of the game, but I don't know if I'm going to be brave enough to play through the whole game. But if not, if I can't make it through, I do plan on watching a Twitch stream of the entire game so that I can really get a feel for all these locations and know what to expect in the park. But if you love the game, if you love the series, leave me a comment down below and tell me what you most want to see in the house. So aside from the press release, we also received a video teaser, which not only brings up The Last of Us, but also has a little bit of that legend lore that they're bringing into as far as a park-wide theme, or what we're all hoping is a park-wide theme. So we've had mentions in the past about the legend is real. We had that creepy video where everyone was thinking it might be Oddfellow or something to do with Jack that was released, I think it was already like close to 2 months ago. Time is flying. And that thread of legend is pulled through this teaser as well, where we see the girl, she's gaming, she's playing Last of Us, she's talking with friends, and they're talking about the legend and this universal legend. And as they're talking about it, her feed cuts out, there's symbols that pop up on the screen, and then an infected walks into our living room. I believe it's a clicker based on the sound he's making, but again, I'm not familiar with the game yet, so correct me if I'm wrong. And then she wakes up and realizes that there's no threat, she's at home, she's safe, but she's terrified. So we have that little bit of a hint that we're getting a bigger story, and we have the little tease of The Last of Us, and that is the commercial that we got today, which I will link down below if you have not seen it. Here's where I'm torn. I feel like there is an attempt being made to have an overall story tied into this here. Aside from, you know, grab your Scream Squad, and aside from Never Go Alone, which has been haunting us for 3 years now. We just cannot escape that slogan. So I had to take a quick pause because some landscapers showed up and were blasting Sheryl Crow. But while I was on that little unplanned intermission, I was chatting with my fellow co-hosts at the RIP Tour podcast, shameless plug, and we were talking about whether or not we played the game, and I just realized I cannot play the game because it is a PlayStation only game. So Last of Us and Last of Us 2 are only available on PlayStation, so I will not get to play the game. I will only be watching it on Twitch or on YouTube to try to get a feel for it because I can't do it. So I'm off the hook because I'm an Xbox person. I have not ever had a PlayStation, and that will not be in the cards for me. But if you are like me and not able to play the game, there are options between Twitch. I'm sure people are playing it right now. It's a very popular game. You can probably search for it and find people actively going through it, or you can find YouTube videos with the gameplay for sure. I believe before I was so rudely interrupted, I was starting to talk about how I feel about the overall potential of having a storyline. I think I was talking about Never Go Alone and discussing the potential that we've seen in bits and pieces in this marketing of having an overall theme, possibly tied to Dr. Oddfellow, possibly just playing on this legend is real. And I want to believe, I'm wearing my X-Files earrings, I want to believe that we're getting something more than just marketing. Here's where I pause. We had the first house announcement in October of 2022. And then we waited all the way through June 2023 to get a second house announcement. Now, there's a lot of reasons this could be happening. Mainly, they like to announce IPs first, right? The intellectual properties are what draw the general crowds to the event. That's what a lot of people base their ticket purchases on these days. It wasn't the case back in the day, but now it is a very IP heavy event. A lot of these deals with the video game companies or the movie companies, TV stations, Netflix, all of these things rely on what kind of marketing they're going to get because it has to be a win-win for both groups, right? So I understand that they need to announce IPs first. Well, IPs are also the hardest to announce first because there's so much behind the scenes that go into securing an IP, making the agreements, getting everyone on the same page. When things aren't necessarily all perfect behind the scenes, you end up with something like this where you get a Chucky announcement and then you have to wait 8 months before you get another announcement. My worry is that if we were getting some sort of overall the legend is real, Dr. Oddfellow theme, that they would have used that to fill some of this gap in space. Maybe an announcement was supposed to come last month and it got pushed aside for some reason. That is the word on the street, that we were supposed to get an announcement last month and it didn't happen. This one seems like it was hard scheduled for this week to fit with the 10th anniversary, so I do believe this one happened on time. But if we were getting more, wouldn't they have used anything else that they had waiting to fill in that gap? I don't know. Maybe there's rules in place. Maybe there's all sorts of contracts that are influencing this, but we are 2.5 months from the start of the event now. We are running out of time for marketing and announcements. And so I do somewhat feel like we're just going to get an information dump later, possibly like right at the beginning of August. We'll just get everything released, aside from maybe 1 or 2 more IPs announced before that point, and then all the originals and scare zones and stuff will just get all announced at once. And I feel like if there was a broader story with actual substance to it, we would have already seen the signs of it. More so, I think we're getting a little bit of marketing teasing with the legend, and I fear that that's gonna be it as far as the legend, that it's just a marketing ploy. I don't want that to be the case, but I'm just tempering expectations out there. I'm hoping for the best, expecting the worst. But as far as the actual announcement from today, I'm very curious to hear your thoughts. How do you feel about it being the video game versus the series? Are you planning to catch up on the lore like I am and watch people play the game just to get a feel for it? I definitely want to know more about those specific locations that they put in the press release, because those are guaranteed to be in the house, and I'm excited to see what's in store. Now, if the rumors are true, this house will be in one of the parade buildings, I believe the new parade building. So that's exciting because that is a big space. We saw with Hill House that they can do a very large facade in there. There's a lot of potential in that space, and I think The Last of Us will absolutely get a wonderful treatment in that space. There's great potential as far as masks of the various infected to really make this creepy, and I'm curious to see how they kind of put a twist on it from Descendants of Destruction last year into The Last of Us this year. So I think that about wraps things up for today. It was a very quick video. We haven't really had too many other rumors swirling around. There's starting to be buzz about scare zones. There's starting to be buzz about a house list that's pretty well locked down. So I do think we'll probably get another rumors map from Horror Night Nightmares sometime soon, because things I feel like are starting to settle in the rumors world. We are very close to the start of the event, so that means things start to get pretty well solidified. Hopefully we'll have more to discuss with more announcements and more rumors very soon. So hopefully it won't be 2 months before you see me again, but if you haven't already, make sure to click subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye.